Hi everyone, it's Kerry back with you today. So I was lucky enough to be invited by Tracy Fox to participate in her Creep on June for this year. I will leave a link in the description box below to Tracy's video where she explains a bit more about the event, but it's not a standard collaboration in terms of there's actually a whole storyline that goes along with it. Both her and Justin uh, created a story that you can read that all ties into the kit. But like I said, I'll leave a link in the description box below to that. And the kit is massive. I have been allocated day 7, and day 7 were these two tags and this little text piece, which is a part of the story if you're following along. This said, Rose arranged their possessions and prepared for the changes to come. So I'll be using that in today's creation. And over here I've got a few other bits and pieces that I've cut out from the kit. I've got one of the background pages and just a few other pieces here. So without further ado, let's begin. So I've roughly cut out the tag from the day 7 page, and I've also cut out a piece from the background, one of the background pages that basically covers the inside of my tag. So my tag is going to be open. These have not been cut perfectly to size because after we've finished creating today's project, we'll trim it down at the end. So I'm just going to fold that in half and then fold it back on itself just so I get a really nice crease there. So this will be for the inside of my tag. Now I've also gone ahead and cut out some of these other pieces from the kit. I've got 2 of this same photo, and then I have all of these other little photos that were along the top of one of the pages of the kit, and I am going to go ahead and just give those a quick ink now. So I'm going to be working on the inside of my tag first, but I need for my background and the outside of my tag to be adhered to each other, but only on this left side because I'm going to be working on this part here. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue and apply it here. Now it doesn't matter if I haven't gone right to the edge because I'm not sure if I'm going to do stitching yet or not, but I can always pop a little bit more glue on after if I need to. So I'm just lining up the creases of the 2 tags and then I'll just close that over. Now there's lots of white edges and things like that, but we'll fix that up afterwards. Okay, so that still leaves this side open, but I can work on here and know that these pages aren't going to separate. So on the inside here, I want to create a bit of a scene like it was a living room or something like that. So this is a wall, and I don't know if you can visualize, but I sort of have this vision that from like my grandma's house or whatever, they had lots of photos of the family up on the wall. And they weren't necessarily placed particularly evenly, they were just sort of scattered around the walls. And I've also gone ahead and cut out this grandfather clock, which I think I'll pop here as well. And then I've cut out a piece of this chair, which I think can sit just in front of my grandfather clock. Something like that maybe. Now I need for this one, which I have 2 of, to be pretty much right in the middle of this half of the tag. So these other ones are going to have to just fit in around that one. So I'm just going to line that up and eyeball it so it's roughly in the middle of my tag. Actually, before I do that, I need to bend that back the other way because I only want to work on this piece of my card. So lining that up so it's roughly in the middle, but then I also need to have enough room for this. So I'm going to slide this down a little bit This will all make sense after the fact. Okay, so I want this one to be about here. Now I'm just bringing in a glue book. Now I'm going to take a pin and just in the inside corner of this frame I'm just going to pop a little hole that goes through both pieces of my cardstock. So through my frame, but then also through the back part of the tag. So this is just marking the place on the tag where I'll need to cut. So now if I turn that over, you probably can't see it, but I have 4 little pinprick holes here that line up with the place where I had my frame on the front. Okay, so I'm just going to take a knife now and cut out between the pin marks that I made. Now it doesn't matter if this is not 100% straight, and I actually need it to be slightly bigger than the pinpricks that we put in. Okay, so I've got my window there, and now I need to cut out this inside section of my frame, and I need to try to be a little bit more accurate with this. Okay, so I've separated my little picture from my frame, and I'm just going to ink around the inside of this frame now. Now don't throw that piece away, we'll need that for later. So bringing my tag back in, I've still got my open page here, and I just want to make sure that my frame covers up my hole, but there's nothing from the inside of my frame hanging into this space. So that looks like that's going to work okay. I'll just verify from the back. And I'm just going to run a little bit of ink around the edge here just in case you can see it after we're done. Okay, I think that's going to be fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach my frame around my hole. And then I'm going to come in and build the rest of my scene with my other photos. Now I'm just being a little bit mindful of not letting my photos cross my crease, just because it will make it easier for folding the tag closed afterwards. So once I'm happy with that layout, I'm just going to go ahead and stick those pieces down, and making sure that I've also inked around these edges. Okay, so I've got all my little bits and pieces glued down, and that's closing over without any troubles there. So now I want to work on my little frame that I've got here, and I've cut out a couple from the kit, and I want to work with one of these skeleton heads. I think I'll use her, and I actually think I'll leave this bright white, which I wouldn't normally do, but I just want it to be quite popping off the page there, and I just need to trim a little bit off this edge. Sorry, Mr. Skeleton Man. So I'm just sort of lining that up where I want it to be. So I'm just going to apply some glue. Now when you cut out this piece, you need to make sure that it's considerably bigger than your hole, because we'll need to secure the edges down to make sure they don't catch after the fact. So lining her up again, about there. That's it. Then I've just got some plain sticky tape here. I'm going to use the sticky tape to secure down the edges of my paper. Just make sure I don't come down too low so that you can see it. Okay, so those edges are all nice and stuck down. So now I want to create a tag that will slide in here, so this will become a pocket. And I've got another piece of this same background paper that I've just folded in half, and it's given me like a long tag piece, and that's going to fit in there quite well as long as I don't glue my edges too much. So I'm just going to glue this closed. Then I'm going to take my glue and I'm going to put a fine bead of glue along this edge and along the bottom here, and then just right along the crease line of my tag. And I can take my tag, actually which way up do I want it? I want it to be that way. I'm going to push that down as far as it will go. And then I'm going to take a pen, I've got just a little white gel pen here, and I'm going to put a little white dot in each corner of my frame. Just making sure that's definitely pushed down. Yep. Then I can take this out, and I know that I need to line up my photo according to these 4 dots here. So it needs to be about there. So I'm going to take some glue, cross my fingers that it's in the right spot, and glue that down. And give it a test drive. So yes, that lines up there quite well. And then I'm just going to trim some of this off at the top. And take that out. Then I want to come in with my little story piece, and I'm going to glue that above the words there, above the picture there. So again, just going to pop some ink on. So I'm just going to trim up my tag a tiny bit. So I don't like this sticking out as far as it is, so I think I'm going to change that a little bit, and I'm going to mark it with a pen. So I think I want it to be flush with the top of the tag here. So there's a little tiny bit of my tag left on there. And I think I can just hide that with some ink. And I think what I'd rather have is just a piece of fabric at the top there for a pull tab. So something like that, I think. So I'm just going to take this to my sewing machine and stitch that across there. Okay, so I've just put a little bit of fabric in the top there as a pull tab, and I think I like that better. Let's see how that works. The glue's still a little bit wet, so everything is a bit soft at the moment. Yes, I think I like that much better. And I might just take the corners off this tag as well. Okay, yes, I like that much better. So now all I need to do is finish decorating the front of my tag. So to finish that, I've got the other part of my tag from my day 7, and I thought I might pop her on the front there. So I'm just going to do some layering and perhaps get some lace or some cheesecloth or something and do a little bit of inking. Okay, so I have finished off my tag there. I just decorated the front with this lady image who I'm just going to imagine that she's Rose. I've popped some different textile bits and pieces that I've messily sewn together there. Little rusted safety pin and a little number 13 charm. And we go inside, we've got our wall layout there and pull out our tag. We've got our little words from the story here and our creepy little skeleton hiding behind our picture there. There we go. And I've just left it plain on the back. So there we go. A huge thanks to Tracy for inviting me to participate in this year's Crepe on June. I had loads of fun making this tag. I will leave a link in the description box to Tracy's website where you can have a look on the calendar and see who's next. You'll be able to click on the links each day and it will take you to that person's video. I'll also leave a link below to Tracy's channel where you can see the full kit and Tracy's introduction video. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you again next time.